Welcome to week 13 of NFL takeaways and reactions. And somehow I got every game right last week. And that'll put my current record at 136-59. Now let's talk some ball. All right, on Thursday morning, afternoon, whatever you want to call it, the Lions beat the Bears, and this is the first time the Lions won on Thanksgiving in who knows how many years, honestly. And I'm not going to lie, it got a little shaky for the Lions. I thought they were going to lose this game. And I guess it's one of those games where it's like, you just take the win and run. And the Lions did just that as they ran, with Dave Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs all over the Bears. So good for the Lions getting the win on Thanksgiving for the first time in several years. As for the Bears, at least your coach got fired. If you didn't see the end of the game, the Bears literally had a timeout and they had like 10 seconds left. And instead of, doing the logical thing and trying to get into field goal range to tie the game, they decided to just chuck Hail Marys. And that's essentially what cost the Bears the game. And yeah, that got him fired. So Bears fans are very happy about that. And honestly, you guys lost and it sucks, but at least your coach, who is honestly the biggest reason why you've been disappointing this year, is gone. Matt Eberflus is gone, and I think it's uphill for the Bears from here on out. And at around 4 o'clock on Thanksgiving, the Cowboys beat the Giants 27-20. And as for the Cowboys, it's a lost season, but it's always good to beat a division rival, and that they did. And hey, they're not technically eliminated from the playoffs. Theoretically they are, but, technically they're not. So if you want to be delusional and say Cowboys Super Bowl, be my guest. But you got the win, so congrats on that. As for the Giants, this game, they only lost by 7, but honestly, the game was never really that close. The Cowboys dominated the Giants in this game for most of it. The Giants had a spark in the first quarter, and then after that, they just disappeared. And the Giants are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So if you're a delusional Giants fan, sorry, you're not making the playoffs. So, yeah, this was a game. I don't think anyone really cared that much about this game because the Cowboys don't have their starting quarterback because he's injured, and the Giants released Daniel Jones and have had 3 quarterbacks starting this season. So, yeah, Giants are a mess, and honestly, I don't think it's only a matter of time until they fire Brian Daboll because, yikes, he has not been a good coach this season. All right, Thanksgiving night, we had the Packers beating the Dolphins 30-17. And the Packers, it wasn't perfect, but you don't need to be perfect when you're playing against a flawed Dolphins team. And congrats to the Packers taking care of business. They didn't really do anything that impressive. Unless you count getting the win, which, they did that, which is the most important thing. And they could still win the NFC North. I don't think they will, but they technically are still most definitely alive for it. So congrats on getting a win. And yeah, I guess on to Detroit on Thursday Night Football. As for the Dolphins, Tua actually played really well in this game. Despite what the score might suggest, he was actually having a good game. But the problem is the rest of the Dolphins couldn't really do much. Him and Devon Achane were really the only 2 sparks that did anything. I guess you've got, Tyreek Hill and all those guys, but they just couldn't put up points. That's the thing. Like, if you got your guys getting all these yards, which is what the Dolphins had, but you got to score, and they didn't score, and the Packers were able to take advantage of that, and they're able to get a win. Dolphins, this really kills their playoff chances because 7 losses, it's tough, so tough sledding for them. All right, on Friday afternoon because this is a Black Friday game. The Chiefs beat the Raiders 19-17. And yeah, if you saw this game, and you'll know why I'm still going to bash the Chiefs. You guys, man, this has got to be the worst team, the worst 11-1 team I've ever seen. And it's statistically they are. And it's just, I don't know what to say. I mean, I guess you're winning games, but like, they're going to get killed when it gets to the playoffs. They're going to get fucking demolished. I have no confidence that this team will do anything when they get to the playoffs, except, lose. So yeah, the Raiders, they were down by 2 with the chance to kick a game-winning field goal. They were in range, by the way. And they fumbled the snap, but they called some kind of penalty before the snap was, done, so that would blow the play dead. But, not for the almighty Chiefs. No, they'll just, because the Chiefs recovered the ball before, the whistle was blown before they did this, by the way. Chiefs recovered, and they decided to just nullify what they just did and give the Chiefs the victory. And I don't like the Raiders, but Raiders, honestly, you guys got screwed. You guys should have beat the Chiefs. Aiden O'Connell actually played really well in this game, so credit to him. But yeah, I don't know what to say. The Chiefs keep getting bullshit to go their way. All right, our next game we have is our first Sunday game. We have the Texans narrowly beating the Jaguars 23-20. And I said in my last video that I would completely destroy the Texans if they lost this game. And they almost did, so they're almost going to get, my rage towards them. But they won, so maybe another video. But yeah, you guys, I guess you took care of business. I mean, the Jags are a bad team. And you guys had a sizable lead on them, but you guys are slowly letting them get back into it. But for now, congrats on the win. And I still think they're gonna get absolutely killed whoever they play in the playoffs. Because I mean, they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they're gonna win any of the games in the playoffs. So sorry, Texans fans, but it's true. All right, Jags. That hit on Trevor Lawrence was absolutely ridiculous. Azeez Al-Shaair rightfully is going to be suspended for a while because that hit was bad. And if you know what I'm talking about, then yeah, you just hate to see that happen because Trevor Lawrence was giving himself up. And for no reason, the Texans defender just decided to go head first at him. And honestly, I gotta give credit to Jags players. They were sticking up for their quarterback, despite how bad that he's been this season. I mean, honestly, that's good on them for sticking by their quarterback, sticking by their guy. So, you guys lost, but it was definitely a better loss. Probably the best loss you could have asked for, aside from the Trevor injury. We obviously hope him the best. All right, our next game, we have the Colts beating the Patriots by a singular point. And, the Colts, their offense looked good. Anthony Richardson looked good, so that's good for them. But their defense, oh boy, it was bad. They let the Patriots demolish them. And, it's a good thing it's a good thing that the Colts offense showed up, because if they didn't, this would have been a very ugly loss. But Colts able to get the victory, so congrats to them. And they're still alive for that last playoff spot, because if they would have lost this game, they'd be 3 games behind the Broncos. And at that point, I don't think they would have made it, but now, the Broncos still have to worry about them, and the Colts have a favorable schedule, including the Broncos next up. So we'll see what the Colts can do, but they got to clean up their defense. As for the Patriots, I mean, honestly, you guys have a bright future. I mean, obviously it sucks that you lost, but I mean, the fact that you guys played as well as you did, despite the lack of talent on your team, honestly, I mean, you guys will be good in a few years. I mean, Drake May is the guy, or at least he looks like the guy. And, like, you know, this is a complete game from them. It's just unfortunate that they're the Patriots and they don't have a lot of talent, and you're not going to win many games with this roster. But, you know, you all never apologize for putting up a valiant effort. I know moral victories aren't really a thing in the NFL, but if there ever was one, this would be it. So, yeah, there you go, Patriots. All right, I don't know what the hell that was, but Chargers and Falcons is up, and the Chargers able to sneak away with a victory. And Chargers defense, they looked really good, like really good. They picked off Kirk Cousins 4 times, and that's no easy feat. I mean, 4 interceptions is crazy for a defense, so good on the Chargers for doing that. I mean, their offense definitely struggled. The Falcons defense definitely had their way with them for most of the game, but, you know, the Falcons, you know, they couldn't capitalize offensively. I mean, the Chargers didn't do much either, but they did enough to win, and, I mean, they lost this game, they'd be actually below the Broncos. They would have slipped all the way down to the 7th seed, so it's important that the Chargers win this game and stay on pace to stick with the 6th seed. As for the Falcons, this is concerning. It really is because, you know, Kirk, I mean, I get the Chargers have a good defense, but 4 interceptions, that's horrendous. And it's like, what did you bring Kirk to do? I mean, these are the types of games I'd expect the old Falcons to lose because they don't have a quarterback, but they have a quarterback. Kirk is a solid quarterback, but you know, you can't just have a guy you're paying that much money perform as bad as he did. I mean, this isn't what you brought him in to do. You brought him in to win more games, and I mean, I guess they're doing that, but these past few games have been ugly. I mean, they got killed by the Broncos. They, let's see, what else did they do? I can't remember off the top of my head. They lost this game. And, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was the Broncos, then a bye week, and then this game. So, yeah, they came off a bye, and they still played this bad. I mean, Falcons got to clean that shit up if they want to win the division. Bucks are right behind them. All right, our next game we have is a revenge game, believe it or not. Geno Smith versus the team that drafted him. Seahawks beat the Jets 26-21. And it was looking really shaky for the Seahawks at the start of this game. The Jets were absolutely, you know, keeping pace on the game. They were the ones in control for most of the first half. And then the second quarter, the Seahawks were able to get some bursts of momentum, which was, you know, good because they were able to take that momentum into the second half, shut out the Jets, and get a victory that way. So congrats getting the victory. Not a pretty one, but, you know, ugly wins are better than pretty losses. And, you know, you always take the wins you can get them, and they did that. And, you know, they could still win their division. I mean, I think they might be in first place currently, if I'm not mistaken. And if they lost this game, you know, their chances of winning that division would have gone way down. So good for them. As for the Jets, I mean, I don't know where to start. I mean, I watched this game on Red Zone. It popped up, and like when Aaron Rodgers was throwing the ball, it looked like he was specifically trying to throw the ball only to Davante Adams. Like, he's not good anymore. He's a bad quarterback. He's not even average. He's literally below average. It's just like, all the Jets needed was an average quarterback in theory, but Aaron Rodgers isn't even that. He's below average. Even that might be a compliment, to be honest. I mean, like they kept saying that all these weapons are being wasted, and they're still being wasted. The only problem is now you've got a prima donna quarterback who doesn't think straight, and he just wants all his buddies on the team. And yeah, it's a mess. I feel for Jets fans. They have another losing season, and yeah, it's not looking good for them. All right, our next game we have is the Commanders destroying the Titans 42-19. And I definitely wasn't surprised by the outcome. I was definitely surprised that the Commanders played as well as they did on offense because they've been struggling these past few weeks, and the Titans have a good defense. So I thought this would be one of those low-scoring games where the better team would win. But this definitely was not that. I mean, the Commanders, they absolutely dominated this game. And, I mean, they let their foot off the gas pedal a little bit in the second half. But when you put up 28 points, you know, against the Titans, I mean, usually that's going to be enough anyway, and it was. So good for the Commanders. I mean, Jayden Daniels for the first time in a few weeks looked like the Jayden Daniels that we're used to. And, you know, if the Commanders can get hot at the right time, they can be a feisty team in the playoffs, which, I mean, I'm assuming they'll make it. And as for the Titans, I mean, I don't really know where to start here. I mean, I thought you guys would at least put up a better defensive performance against the Commanders. I know your offense is trash, but your defense is supposed to be what is holding your team together. And that's clearly not the case if you're giving up 42 points to any team, especially a team that's been struggling these past few weeks. You know, you gave this team a spark, and I get that Jayden Daniels was good, but I mean, I don't know. I guess there's a reason the Titans are 3-9, and their season's been done for a few weeks now, to be honest. Our next game we have is the Steelers beating the Bengals 44-38, and Russell Wilson had his third 400-plus passing yard game of his career, so congrats to him. And the Steelers, I mean, they just dominated on offense, which I never usually get to say, but Bengals defense is bad, and the Steelers were able to take advantage of that and win this game, so good for them on doing that. And they're 9-3. Mike Tomlin has his whatever amount of winning seasons. He has never had a losing season, however many years he's been coaching, so good for him. As for the Bengals, I mean, this is just about what I expected. I figured they put up a lot of points, but your defense is so bad, like so bad. It's ridiculous. I mean, you have Joe Burrow playing like an MVP, Jamar Chase putting up crazy stat lines. You've got Trey Hendrickson having a good season too, and you're 4-8, and it's because your stupid head coach doesn't know how to, you know, be a head coach or play call or anything like that. And your defense is awful. I don't know what the fuck happened. I mean, you guys had like a solid defense the past few years that you were, you know, competing for Super Bowls, but yeah, something happened. I mean, they got to fire Lou Anarumo at some point. You know, he's been a bad defensive coordinator. Because it's not like this team lost a whole lot of talent. It's just, it's got to be a coaching issue. And I think it starts with Zach Taylor. He has to go at the end of the season. This team, they just need a better defense. Then they can, you know, be the Bengals of old. All right, our next game we have is the Vikings escaping with a win against the Cardinals, 23-22. And the Vikings, you know, they were actually down by double digits starting in the fourth quarter. At some point, I think the Cardinals kicked a field, or no, it was 9 points, but it's 2 scores, because I think the Cardinals kicked a field goal to make it 22-13. And I think it was reasonable to assume that the Vikings were going to lose, but they didn't. They were able to rally back and get a much-needed victory to stay, you know, in contention for that number 1 seed. You know, so you just gotta get the wins. The ugly ones matter as much as the pretty ones. So good for the Vikings. Definitely would have liked them to win by a bit more of a spread, but you know, win's a win. And as for the Cardinals, what happened? You guys were actually dominating this game. You guys were dominating time of possession. The Vikings weren't doing anything on offense, and then something just happened. I mean, credit to the Vikings, but that is not what you want to do when you're a rebuilding team. These are the types of games that, like, you especially can't afford to lose, because if you guys want to make a playoff push, which I think they still can, it's like, you need to win games like this. When you're up on a team, you cannot afford to lose games like this, and that's what they did. and it might have extinguished their playoff chances. All right, our next game we have is the Rams beating the Saints 21-14, and this is kind of another game where the Rams weren't really doing much, and then they caught a spark in the second half. They actually didn't score a single point in the first half, but it didn't matter as the Saints couldn't really do a whole lot in the second half. And, I mean, you know, with the Cardinals losing, I mean, this definitely helps. And the 49ers losing, by the way. We'll get to them later. You know, they could still win the division. The only team, the Seahawks are the team winning now. And it looks like there's a three-way tie for second place because the Rams are 6-6, the Cardinals actually, no, there's a two-way tie. The 49ers are like 5-7. They're playing like shit right now. Like, kind of forget they were bad, but focus on the Rams. You know, good win. Not the prettiest win, but a win's a win. As for the Saints, I mean, honestly, they played better than I thought they would. Their defense was actually playing well for a lot of the game, especially considering you've got Kyren Williams, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp to deal with. So credit where credit's due. I mean, you lost, but, you know, a valiant effort by, you know, what's his name? Darren Rizzi. I think that's the guy's name, the new interim head coach for the Saints. They'll have to give him consideration for, you know, being the next head coach next season. All right, moving on, we got the Bucks beating the Panthers 26-23. And the Bucks, you know, I've been saying this a lot, which, you know, I guess is fine because wins are wins. But yeah, you definitely played ugly. Definitely let a team you should have beaten handily stay in this game longer. But you got the job done, so I can't hate too much. And you're only half a game back against the Falcons for that division. They could steal it, and the way the Falcons been playing, I mean, honestly, I think they will. So, good win. Head to the Panthers here real quick. Honestly, I mean, you guys lost, but Bryce Young actually looks really good now. He's had, I believe, like 4 games. He's had 4 games in a row where he's actually looked decent. And I mean, he has not looked good at all before that. And, you know, you guys lost 2 games in a row, but, I mean, it was to the Chiefs, who, I mean, they're not that good, but they're still the Chiefs. And the Bucks, I mean, they were very close to winning this game, too, you know. It's just, when you're a team like the Panthers, you're not going to win many games, so when you have Bryce Young look good, that's about as good as it can get for you guys. So credit to the Panthers for putting up a fight. I mean, I definitely thought the Bucks would win this one handedly, but I was right they would win, but I was wrong about how they would win. So we'll see if the Panthers, they'll probably steal a couple of games down the stretch. All right, our next game, the supposed game of the week before the week started, we had the Eagles beating the Ravens 24-19, but the score was not that close. The Eagles won this game handedly. And, I mean, you know, you got Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, you name it, they've got them. Against a suspect defense, usually they're going to feast, and that's what they did. And it definitely looked shaky in the first quarter, but after that, you know, the Eagles were basically in control for the game, so good for them. As for the Ravens, I mean, like I said, I mean, your defense is suspect, and I mean, I guess the Eagles' defense, they were suspect, but they've kind of gotten their shit together, and that's what the Ravens need to do if they want to win in the playoffs. And also, Justin Tucker, what the hell? He is horrible now. He missed like 3 kicks in that game or something. I mean, I don't want to say he single-handedly lost you the game, but you know, he played awful. Like, if he would have played up to usual Justin Tucker standards, the Ravens probably win. And yeah, it's gonna be a problem heading into the playoffs if he doesn't start, you know, playing better, because, you know, every point matters in the playoffs, and if you're not able to get the simple ones by kicking field goals, you know, it's gonna cost them. So I'm definitely worried about the Ravens heading into the playoffs. All right, on Sunday Night Football, we got the Bills destroying the 49ers 35-10 in a snow game. And I mean, the Bills, it definitely was a slow start, as you would expect, because, it's snow. But after that, they were able to, get the offense moving. And you also had that Josh Allen pass, and then it got lateraled back to himself. So he got a passing touchdown and a receiving touchdown, which is actually hilarious. And that's just how this game was for the Bills. They were in control, and they were able to try crazy shit like the Josh Allen pass to himself, receiving touchdown thing, whatever you call it. I don't know. And yeah, good win for the Bills. If they want that 1 seed, games like this, they're going to get it. Games like this are why. As for the 49ers, I mean, honestly, this team, they're done. I don't know what to say. CMC got injured. They've had a shit ton of injuries this season. Nick Bosa didn't even play in this game. And, you just, honestly, I can't even blame anyone here. They've just had really bad luck with injuries. I mean, granted, they played bad, but, when you're in a snow game, down your running back, down your best defensive player, or at least one of your best defensive players, it's not exactly, and one of your best wide receivers too. Brandon Ayuk's out for the season. I completely forgot about that. It's just, this team's like the 2020 49ers. They've just had some really bad injury luck, and it's going to be a long season. All right, on Monday Night Football, we got one of the best games of the week, which I definitely did not expect to be saying that, but it's true. Broncos beat the Browns 41-32. And, it was definitely not a pretty win, to say the least. We could have played better defensively. It was, I don't know what to say. It was weird because we had 2 pick sixes and almost 3 pick sixes, but, we allowed Jameis Winston to pass for damn near 500 passing yards. We gave up over 500 yards of offense. And I don't know, it's just a weird game because Jameis Winston's one of those quarterbacks where, he will make sure it's a competitive game, and I feel like it's just that. But you got the win, and it was an important win because our schedule after this is not easy, so a win like this is going to help us with our playoff push. As for the Browns, I mean, you guys scared me a little bit. You really did. Jerry Jeudy had over 200 receiving yards, which was absolutely insane. I wish he could have done that for us when he was on our team, but I'll digress. Jameis Winston, he scared me. We couldn't get pressure on him. We really couldn't. And it makes sense because the Browns have a good O-line. But yeah, he was killing us, and the only reason we won was because of our 2 pick sixes, so, I'll give Browns credit. They played their tails off, and they almost upset us, so, yeah, that's going to conclude the week, and on Thursday, I'll have my Week 14 NFL predictions, as some of you already know, and I will see you guys in my next video.